What's going on, nation? I'm Scott from MuscularStrength.com, and today we're going to continue our Versus series by comparing two underappreciated and underused biceps exercises that are similar in many ways, especially when it comes to targeting that biceps peak. However, while both the barbell drag curl and barbell spider curl are very effective in building muscle, if you could only perform one to build your biceps, which one would you pick and why? Well, we'll get into that, but before we get started, be sure to turn on video notifications so you never miss a new video upload. And if you enjoy this series, go to the info section or my pinned comment and you will find a link to my entire playlist of all my Versus series videos. All right, guys, so now back at it. The barbell drag curl or the barbell spider curl, which is better? Well, this is actually a very reasonable question to ask, considering that these exercises are very similar in terms of biceps recruitment, but doing them both in the same workout is probably not optimal for muscle gain. Remember that the biceps are a small muscle group, and all it takes is really one or two exercises to fully exhaust them, especially if you're training them after your back workout. But before we dive into the actual comparison of these two movements, let's first understand how the biceps work. Your biceps is a two-headed muscle that lies between your shoulder and your forearm. These two heads are often referred to as the long head and the short head, simply because the long head is actually longer than the short. Shocking, right? Now, the long head is located on the outside of your arm and is responsible for the peak of your biceps when viewed from behind or the side. The short head, on the other hand, is on the inside of your arm, and it's what gives your biceps thickness and size. Now, to specifically target these heads is actually quite easy to do as well. In general, performing bicep exercises with a narrow grip or inside shoulder width will mainly target the long head or outside head, and whereas performing exercises with a wide grip or outside of shoulder width will mainly target the short head or inside head. However, there is a third piece to this equation where you can actually place more emphasis on the peak of the biceps by performing exercises that focus on the contraction part of the curl or the flex or squeeze at the top of the movement. And when it comes to contracting the biceps to target the peak, that's where the barbell spider curl and the barbell drag curl come into play. So let's take a look now at each exercise for proper form. All right, guys, so the spider curl is a pretty straightforward exercise. All you need is an incline bench and a barbell. And you can also use a preacher curl station if it's available to you. There are preacher curl stations where one side is straight and then one side is angled. What you would do is actually lay over the angled side so your elbows are resting on the straight side. But the way we're doing it right now, we're not going to have any sort of elbow support, which is going to make the exercise a bit more intense because you're going to have to flex and contract harder to stabilize your arms to keep them in the suspended position that we're going to have them in. So I recommend, if you're going to do this exercise, even if the preacher's available, to do it on a bench like this. Now, a couple other things. You can do this movement with dumbbells or a barbell. I recommend using the barbell because you'll be able to load up more weight, and we're trying to overload the biceps and hit the peaks as hard as we can, so you want to use as much weight as possible. And one last thing, guys, if your wrists start to hurt, you can use an easy curl bar if you have one, but again, I'd rather you use a straight bar and get your hands fully supinated like this to perform the movement. So what you're going to do is lay on a bench just like this. You're going to have your weight loaded up, and when you get into place, you're going to grab the barbell with your hands about shoulder width, get a nice tight grip, and you're going to hang in the suspended position like this. Now, when you're in this suspended position, there's really no tension in your arms at this point, but what you're going to have to do is make sure that when your arms are fully extended, that you're creating, that you're not creating any sort of angle. You want your arms hanging straight down. From here, you're going to keep your elbows in one spot and bring the weight out and up in front of you and curl it all the way to the top. And when you get to the top of the position, this is where it gets really hard, because not only are you curling the weight and contracting your biceps as hard as you can, but you're also fighting your elbows from doing this. So keep those elbows in one spot, flex and squeeze your biceps, come back down to the starting position, and then repeat for reps, just like this. Now, when it comes to doing the drag curl, once again, you're going to use a straight barbell, grab it about shoulder width, And then for this exercise, guys, what you're going to do is instead of a traditional barbell curl where you keep your elbows in one spot, typically in line or in front of your hips, and curl the bar like this, what you're going to do is the exact opposite. It's called a drag curl because what you're doing is you're dragging the barbell up your body as you pull your elbows back. So a repetition is going to look like this. Arms are in the fully stretched position. Then as you curl, you're pulling your elbows back as hard as you can. And then you're lifting the barbell up and bringing it as high as you can. So you can see the entire repetition, the barbell is up against my body and I'm pulling my elbows back super hard and getting a really nice contraction in my biceps at the top of the movement. And then obviously on the way down, you follow the same movement pattern where the bicep stays close to your body. So once again, guys, get a nice tight squeeze in the bar, curl it, pull those elbows back, bring it up as high as you can, squeeze your biceps as hard as you can at the top, and then come back down to the starting position. Now for this movement, you can use dumbbells, but like I said, for the first one, I want you guys to be able to lift as much weight as possible, and you're going to be able to lift a lot more weight with the barbell, which is why we're using the barbell version of this exercise. Now that you understand proper form, which is better, the barbell drag curl or the barbell spider curl? Well, right off the bat, guys, the barbell drag curl has a very obvious advantage of not requiring a bench to perform the movement. I know a lot of you guys go to overcrowded gyms, and the last thing you need is some gym bro getting pissed because he can't do his dumbbell bench press because you're using the bench for spider curls. So even if you end up choosing the barbell spider curl as your exercise, you can still easily go to the drag curl as a quick alternative if all the benches are being used. Remember, the point of muscle gain workouts in the gym is to get in, crush your workout, and get out. Wasting time between sets waiting for a piece of equipment to become available is just not an efficient use of your time. However, the main difference between the two exercises lies in the actual range of motion. The barbell spider curl is predicated on your elbows staying in one place for the entire duration of the set. While this is great for isolating your biceps and building a better mind-muscle connection, it's definitely not ideal in terms of overloading the biceps or getting a solid stretch at the bottom of the movement. So what this tells us is that the spider curl is more of an isolation movement since it forces your entire body to stay still and eliminates the lower body from the equation. Also, it forces your elbows to stay in the same position in front of your torso, which does provide an unreal contraction at the top of the movement, but hardly any stretch at the bottom. But when compared to the barbell drag curl, the technique is much different since your elbows don't stay in one place. Instead, they begin in front of your body, and as the rep progresses, they travel backwards and up behind your body. So why is this important? Well, since at the moment of peak contraction, your elbows are behind your body, the drag curl actually sets you up for a much harder contraction while the biceps are in a semi-stretched position. And this combination of a contraction while semi-stretched is what makes the barbell drag curl even more effective at building a bigger biceps peak. And if you're having trouble understanding what the elbow's position in space has to do with the biceps, you need to understand that the biceps' main function might be to flex the elbow, but its secondary function is to actually flex the shoulder. That means if you place your body into a shoulder extension, you will stretch the biceps even further. And of course, as I have said many times in many videos, when it comes to building muscle, the stretch is the most important part of any exercise for sparking new growth. So what's the final verdict? Well, now that we understand the benefits and drawbacks of each exercise, I think it's pretty clear which one you should choose to incorporate in your workouts, and that's the barbell drag curl. To summarize, guys, the barbell drag curl has two distinct benefits over the barbell spider curl, and those are, number one, the potential to overload your biceps with heavier weight, and number two, the ability to heavily contract the biceps while in a semi-stretched position. On the other hand, though, the spider curl is still a terrific exercise that has a place in your workouts. If you're looking for more of an isolation type movement to fully isolate and engage the biceps, then the spider curl should be your go-to exercise. Also, if you're struggling with mind-muscle connection with your biceps, the spider curl is going to help you immensely. And finally, if you do decide to incorporate the spider curl in your workouts, it's actually a great idea to combine it with an exercise such as the incline dumbbell curl. While the spider curl works your biceps primarily in a flexed position, the incline curl works them in a stretched position. So if you superset these two movements together, you'll get the best of both worlds. But again, guys, if I only had room in my workout for one of these two exercises, I would go with the barbell drag curl. It's simple, it's effective, and it gets the peaks higher. Nice high peaks. So if you want to add the barbell drag curl to your current arm workout, I recommend adding it as the last exercise so that you can focus on movements like a standard barbell or dumbbell curl first, because you will be able to lift more weight with those exercises to help you overload your biceps more. But if your peaks are lagging, then it would make sense to maybe start with the drag curl first so you can work on bringing them up. So if you're going to finish your workout with the barbell drag curl, 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps would be all you need. But if your peaks are lagging and you want to do this movement first, I'd rather you go with maybe 5 to 6 sets of 8 to 10 reps and really focus on progressing with the movement. As for my cheat and recover technique, I really don't recommend doing that here, as the focus is the contraction at the top of the movement or the flex, and cheat reps would pretty much be useless for targeting that. However, I do recommend that you follow me on Instagram for more fitness tips, and if you guys are looking for a new 12-week program, check out my full push-pull legs or the new 5-week power building program I just added from fitness pro Brian DaCosta. This guy is super smart when it comes to programming, and if you're in need of something new and different, his power building approach is friggin' awesome. No BS, no gimmicks, just straight up hardcore training that's going to give you the results you've been looking for. Smash that like button, subscribe, and as always, guys, more good stuff coming soon. See ya.